sustainability can really be summed up in sort of one phrase, which is quality of life. We have a certain large number of people on a planet with a finite amount of resources. And humans are the species that can make choices about those resources, what to use, how much to use, how we can strategize to reuse resources we have. And given that there are limits, we can make choices for future generations to give future generations options. To me, that's really the big question of knowing what we have, knowing how to use it, and making it last forever. Essentially, it's like the challenge of our lifetime for sure. And I have children, so I think about their options once we've made choices in our generation and beyond. That to me is the big thing. With a lot of people with limited resources, ultimately the question is, what kind of life do you want to lead in the country you're in or the part of the world you're in compared to other places? There are lots of different cultures around the world that live in different ways and have different qualities of life, and I think oftentimes people forget about that, and we can explore ways to change and ways to improve choices we've made in the past and make better choices in the future. I am married and I have 2 young children, so a family of 4. My partner and I have chosen to live near where we work. We both live within a mile of our places of employment, and we've been getting by with one vehicle, for example, for the last 6 years within our sort of small footprint area. We'd like to think of it that way, which means that one of us is often walking or biking to work or out to run errands and these sorts of things. Carpooling is automatic in that case for us. And I talk to my son a lot about thinking about where things come from and where they go after we use them, like with food choices we make. So it's important to my family that we buy food that we know is local to the best extent we can. So I know the name of the person who grows greens that we buy from and who grows other vegetables and who has chickens and provides eggs at the market. So we can tie a person with the product that we choose to purchase. And in some cases we pay a bit of a premium for that, but that's important to me, and I know that for my son, for a long time his local hero was the guy who sold us vegetables at the market. And I thought that was kind of a neat thing, rather than seeing him have superhero cartoon characters as heroes. It was Dennis, the farmer, and then Dave, the meat farmer, who we bought eggs and pork, for example, from. So that to me is one other way that we make choices, really day-to-day choices about that. There are choices you can make that are more sustainable, that actually save you money too. So at my house, it's a kind of a constant exploration in how to reduce sort of our energy footprint. And it's hard, in this sort of system we have with the layout of our cities and neighborhoods and the energy sort of setup and infrastructure we have. It's a long-term plan, right, to figure out solar water heaters and solar panels and these sorts of things. So it's a long-term investment. So we do think of those things short-term and long-term. I really like the idea of the eco mugs. I think having that constant reminder of how a material item can be with you. You can use it, you can reuse it for a long time and avoid, sort of wasteful sort of purchasing and disposal of cups every time you get a drink or bottles every time you get a drink. It's not necessarily that the mug saves the world and solves world sustainability problems, but it's a great start in a way for people to sort of participate in the same way that you might eliminate, disposable shopping bags with reusable ones. I think I like the way that has worked out. And then my current other favorite, I think, is the new solar panel and electric vehicle grouping that we have on campus. Seeing the electric cars, the all-electric vehicles here on campus, and I just saw one at the post office in downtown Kalamazoo yesterday. which I thought was neat to sort of see it outside of the campus community. So I find that one particularly impressive, and I'm proud to see it here. You know, I think much of the way things have evolved, or the way that we've designed, sort of in this country especially, the layout of cities, transportation networks, so much of that I think has been driven by sort of cheap fossil fuel availability, right? And it's driven car culture. It's changed our sort of what were at a time sort of vibrant, dense downtown environments. It's sort of broken them up as sort of roadways and parking has come in. So I feel like it's broken up, you know, our traditional cities. It's sort of spread development out onto the landscape, and it sort of, that spread of development fights sort of with local agricultural opportunities and pushes them further out to the margins. And I think it's really all related to this fossil fuel sort of availability that we've enjoyed here as a country for some time, but I don't see that lasting much longer. I think we're already seeing pressures pushing the other direction. And I think whether we want to or not, we're going to have to work with more and more expensive fuels. And frankly, the cost of using those fuels is becoming more and more clear and obvious. The science is there about climate change and its link to burning carbon-based fossil fuels. And again, whether we want to or not, we are heading to a post-carbon economy because it's going to be too expensive and it's too damaging now. I think moving towards sort of localization, local communities, local food, local products, reducing the mileage that things travel. I think that's coming, and I think it's important, and I do think that we should encourage it. So in terms of policies, I think anything that encourages people to be more resilient at their home, or at, you know, if they might call it their homestead, providing more for themselves in terms of food and through gardening and taking care of their property and knowing their neighbors. All of that leads to sort of kind of re-densifying cities. And then connecting with things like community-supported agriculture and local farmers who know the land and care for the local land. I think those things all can roll together, and I think it's coming. Localization is coming, and I think it's important we should encourage it to go faster and faster because I think it's important for everyone.